Hey everyone, just a little post-election rant from your friends here at the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Just a couple things come to mind following the election. Number one, I just want to say, thank you for fighting with the taxpayer army, and also just think of some of the stuff that you've accomplished over the last couple years, right? You fought the narrative, and I would even say defeated the narrative of carbon taxes, right? Even forcing the Liberal government to back down on their favorite tax 6 minutes ago. You helped expose all the massive government waste in Ottawa and built the case of why we need spending cuts. So just number one, thank you for all the work that you've done fighting with us at the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. The second thing that comes to mind is look, folks, I hope you're ready to keep fighting. I'm ready to keep fighting because we've got a lot of stuff left to do here in Canada fighting for taxpayers, okay? We have to clean up the national finances, right? The Trudeau government doubled the debt in less than a decade, right? Interest charges on the debt alone are blowing more than a $1 billion hole in the budget every single week, right? Let's put that into context. That's essentially the cost of a brand new hospital every week that is gone. Or here's another way to look at it, right? The federal government is now spending more money on debt interest charges than what it sends to the provinces in health transfers. Or, hey, welcome to Canada, folks, where every dollar you pay in federal sales tax goes to pay interest charges on the debt. And of course, look, Mr. Carney, Prime Minister Carney, he wants to add even more debt than Trudeau does, right? He wants to add $225 billion to the debt over the next 4 years, almost $100 billion more than what Trudeau was planning to do, right? And look, all of this debt, not only does it impact taxpayers tomorrow, right, where a baby born today is on the hook for about $30,000 in federal government debt alone, but it also impacts life today for Canadians. We talked about the wasted money on interest payments, but more debt makes your life more expensive because all of this debt has to be paid back either with tax hikes today, taxes plus interest tomorrow, or through the printing press. And we saw that during the pandemic, right, where the federal government's central bank, the Bank of Canada, printed up more than 300 billion new dollars, largely financing Ottawa's deficit. So we have to clean up the national finances. And that first starts with cleaning up all the wasteful spending in the federal government. So we got a lot more work to do there, right? From the little things, like the $8 million barn the federal government built on the Governor General's estate. Or all the crazy spending, like the $8,800 sex toy show in Germany. Or the $12,000 the federal government spent so senior citizens in other countries could talk about their sex lives in front of live audiences. But then, of course, there's the bigger wasteful spending, right? Like the government adding 108,000 extra government bureaucrats in less than a decade, or ballooning the cost of the bureaucracy to taxpayers by 73%, or the corporate welfare, right? Like the federal government putting taxpayers on the hook for about $30 billion in corporate welfare to multinational corporations to build battery factories. And we also have to push for a culture change in Ottawa, right? Where politicians and bureaucrats either don't know or don't care how hard you work for the money that you make and the taxes that you pay. Where members of parliament, essentially from all parties, think they are entitled to pay raises every single year. Or, when politicians fly to far-flung countries like Trudeau, dropping $220,000 on airplane food. Or the Governor General spending $71,000 on limos in Iceland. We need to keep fighting back for a culture change here in Ottawa. A couple other things that we have to keep fighting on, right? Our natural resource economy, carbon taxes. You forced the Liberal government to back down on their own carbon tax, but that fight is not over, right? The consumer carbon tax rate is set to 0. We have to force this government to repeal the carbon tax legislation. And of course, there's also the hidden carbon taxes, right? Where Carney wants to change the carbon tax. He wants to hammer Canadian businesses with carbon taxes, and he hopes you won't notice when that makes your life more expensive. But folks, as you know, a carbon tax is a carbon tax is a carbon tax. It's going to make your life more expensive. It's going to hurt Canada's economy. Also, Carney wants to impose carbon tax tariffs. That'll cost Canadians about $500 million. So let's keep fighting to end all carbon taxes in Canada. And the last thing is we have to get stuff built here in Canada. Okay, we need our natural resource economy firing on all cylinders. Folks, since 2015, we have seen $670 billion of natural resource projects stalled or canceled. $670 billion, right? We've seen the No More Pipelines law, the discriminatory tanker ban. Okay, we've seen the rejection of the Northern Gateway pipeline, the government moving the regulatory goalposts on the Energy East pipeline. Okay, so, folks, I just want to say, again, a couple things, bookended here. Thank you for all the work that you've done fighting for taxpayers. And number two, I hope you're ready to keep fighting. We're ready to keep fighting. We got a lot of work to do. We got to clean up the national finances. We have to end the massive government waste in Ottawa. We need a culture change in Ottawa where politicians and bureaucrats respect your taxpayers' hard-earned money. We need to keep fighting to end all carbon taxes, and we got to get things built here in Canada. Folks, I hope you're ready to keep fighting. I'm ready to keep fighting. And let's keep growing that taxpayer army. Head over to taxpayer.com.